And welcome back. Republican who oversaw the Mayorkas impeachment will not seek re-election. Representative Mark Green, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee and a staunch conservative, declared on Wednesday that he would not seek re-election shortly after overseeing the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Representative Green, a former Army Ranger medic elected in 2018, cited fulfilling his promises to his constituents regarding border security legislation and holding Mayorkas accountable as reasons for his decision to step down. The announcement adds Green to a growing list of committee chairs opting not to run for re-election, including Representatives Kathy McMorris Rodgers and Mike Gallagher. These decisions are notable given their relatively young age and prestigious positions, which are typically sought-after roles that lawmakers wait years to attain. Green expressed disillusionment with the dysfunction in Congress, stating that effecting change feels like a lot of something for nothing. He hinted at continuing public service in a different capacity without providing specifics. As a member of the ultra-conservative Freedom Caucus, Green has a background as a flight surgeon involved in the capture of Saddam Hussein. Despite being nominated by President Trump for Army Secretary in 2017, concerns over his past controversial comments, particularly regarding transgender issues, led to his withdrawal. In his role as Homeland Security Committee chairman, Green led the impeachment efforts against Mayorkas, marking the first time a sitting cabinet secretary faced such charges. However, the charges against Mayorkas, which were initially rejected by the House before being approved on a second attempt, had drawn criticism for lacking a clear high crime or misdemeanor, the constitutional standard for impeachment. Now, this also brings to light that the Republicans, who have a very, very slim, tenuous majority in the House of Representatives, now even one less since the ouster of Santos and the special elections resulting in a Democrat winning Santos' seat. This is now going to highlight an issue coming up in 2024, as well as potentially the midterm elections of 2026, because we are now seeing many sitting representatives deciding not to opting out of re-election. And what does this say for those seats? Because right now, if the Republicans wish to continue to maintain control of the House, they need every seat come 2024 and as well as 2026. So it's going to be even more so of a focus on how and who are the candidates that will be dealt with or that will be put up for election to for these open seats come 2024, but also how are they going to deal with the backlash that seems to be Trump, as well as the MAGA platform, and how are they going to deal with the fact that the immigration reforms have not been occurring, and some are saying because of Donald Trump's personal backlash and insistence on the Republicans. But one thing is for certain, that not only are we dealing, once again, the rematch between Trump and Biden, I feel like we are watching Rocky number 55 when we're looking at this, but also how are the Republicans going to deal with the backlash that has been the chaos of the party, but as well as how are they going to unify Republicans? Because right now, the dysfunction, the division and derision within the Republican Party, as well as the Republican voters, is huge. And it's something that is going to have to be dealt with. And you also have an RNC that right now is dysfunctional as well. So it's going to be a very interesting electoral process in the next coming months. We're now, about 9 months from the actual election. So it's definitely going to be time for the RNC, as well as Republican candidates, to round the wagons, figure out a new game plan, and proceed. And speaking of Trump, now we're switching up because Trump's influence not only goes beyond what his own campaign is doing to try to get another 4-year term as president, but it also does infiltrate all things that are Republican campaigns. And the Democrats are utilizing Trump and his legal woes to their advantage. Now, Trump's hush money trial has been set. This is the New York State indictment, which was the first of the 91 felonies that Trump has been indicted. And the judge has now set that trial for March 25th. The hush money trial against Donald Trump is set to proceed as scheduled, with jury selection beginning on March 25th, despite the former president's defense lawyers requesting of a delay. The trial, one of 4 criminal prosecutions against Trump, focuses on allegations that he sought to conceal extramarital affairs during his 2016 presidential campaign, and this is with the porn star Stormy Daniels. Which, I'm sorry, is anybody surprised by him having extramarital affairs? It screams in my head. He cheated on every single one of his wives, to include former First Lady Melania Trump. In fact, this was one of his lovely affairs while she was pregnant. However, this trial goes beyond whether or not he had sex. We're not reliving the Bill Clinton era. It is whether he purposely withheld information that may have affected his electability. Now, New York Judge Juan Manuel Merchan rejected calls for the postponement, noting the stalled prosecution in Washington related to election interference pending Trump's appeal on immunity for actions taken while in office. The trial, expected to last 6 weeks, will commence weeks after the Super Tuesday elections, overlapping with Trump's political calendar as he seeks the Republican nomination for the presidential race. Trump's defense vigorously objected to the trial's timing, citing interference with his electoral activities. However, Merchan reaffirmed the trial date, emphasizing prior consideration of such arguments. Despite Trump's concerns about the trial's impact on his election prospects, he has previously attended court proceedings unrelated to his presence, highlighting his court involvement as part of his political campaign, which has been genius. Because the question still is out there. Would Trump be doing so well in the polls, especially in the Republican primary polls, but for the fact of all these indictments? He has branded himself as the victim. He has been going to all of these court hearings, even though he's not required. Now, here's the big difference. This criminal trial requires his presence every single day, all 6 weeks, or longer. Now, this hearing is marking Trump's first return to court since becoming the first ex-president charged with a crime amidst ongoing legal activity across multiple cases in different states. The New York trial is seen as the least legally precarious among Trump's indictments, focusing on accusations less grave than those in other cases, such as mishandling classified documents or attempting to undermine the presidential election. While Trump has criticized Judge Merchan and sought various legal maneuvers, including moving the case to federal court, Merchan has maintained his impartiality. Alongside the criminal trials, Trump awaits a decision in a New York City civil fraud case that could have significant financial implications for his real estate empire. In the criminal case, Trump's defense asserts that no crime was committed regarding payments to silence Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, arguing that the charges are politically motivated. Despite these legal challenges, Trump remains active in his political pursuits as he navigates the complex legal landscape ahead of him. And let's remember, there's also the drama of the Georgia case, because there is another Georgia felonies. That's actually the indictment with multiple multiple defendants. But right now, there is a hearing to determine whether the special prosecutor, as well as the attorney general, should be disqualified for a conflict of interest due to their illicit affair that was not reported, was not provided to defense, and actually came out during the special prosecutor's divorce. That hearing is ongoing right now with testimony. So with Trump, there are so many different legal fights going on. There's a lot of moving circles and moving objects. But one thing's for certain, because of the stalled federal indictments, and that is because right now the Washington, D.C. case has been stalled because of the appeals for to determine one, whether the president has absolute immunity from prosecution of alleged federal crimes, and also whether that's the main one. But then you have in the Miami federal case, where that was the mishandling of secure documents and classified documents, that case had been put on the back burner for the Washington, D.C. case. So Trump's legal woes are continuing to be fought out. We are still waiting the judgment of Judge Enron in the Trump's civil fraud case, but now we are looking at a March 25th jury selection, and there will probably be some other motions and such leading up to it. But now, for those that are really on the criminal watch, does the DNC, does the Democratic engine really want the New York case to really go forward when they trumped up, no pun intended, the case from a misdemeanor to that of a felony, as well as, is this their strongest case going forward? Some say no, and it's another win for Trump. Now, we will continue to follow all things that are legal and Trump in the Trumponian legal world. And I want to thank you so much for coming to another Purple Politics episode, and wishing you a belated happy Valentine's Day. And we will see you next week. I am your hostess, Alina Gonzalez Dockery, wishing you a safe and wonderful weekend. Thank you.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.